Hello and welcome back to Mr. Leggett's laboratory. Well, it's just a kitchen, but that's okay. Part 2 of our very berry ink experiment. Remember yesterday we squeezed the berries, we added a little salt and vinegar, and then we refrigerated it overnight. So it would work best that way. So part 2 of our experiment is we need to make our pen. And I'm going to need some scissors over here. So to make the pen, I'll come close up here. Let's see if I can get it close up. There we go. To make the pen, I'm going to cut it at an angle right here. So I have a sharp point like so. And then I'm going to make a little cut about a 1/2 inch up this way. So it looks something like that. All right, that is my pen. All right, so what's going on here? Well, this is what we're going to watch for. Oops, getting used to this still. If the ink is too thick, which I don't think it is, thin it with water, adding just a little at a time until the consistency is smoother and the ink flows the way you want. Don't add too much, you'll dilute the color. So what's going on? What makes berries so good for ink and so good for us are pigments known as anthocyanins, or which give them their distinct red, blue, or purple color. The acidic vinegar in this recipe serves as a fixative, a substance that makes the pigments more permanent. The salt prevents mold from growing. So there you have it. The vinegar makes the pigments or the colors more permanent, and the salt prevents mold from growing. The juice travels down the split in the pen and onto the paper through capillary action. In an actual quill pen, the tip or nib is heat treated for strength and then carefully carved to give the writer better control of the ink flow. Every few pages, and I found this interesting, the writer needs to sharpen the nib using a pen knife. Yes, that's where they got the name. Pen knife is actually used to sharpen your pen. So let's go ahead and take off the rubber band and the aluminum foil, and we will dip our pen into this. It doesn't smell all that good. It smells more like vinegar than it does berries. So I'm writing a message now. It appears to be working. And like they had to do back in the day, the ink only lasted so long and you had to dip your pen in. Boy, it'd be really hard to write like this all the time. But it's kind of fun. And I can see how the ink travels down that little cut. And we'll see, I think it's going to work. I think it'll be kind of a permanent ink. Of course, I should work a little more carefully. Okay, and while that's drying, let's read about Tell Me More. So any hard pointed object can be dipped in ink and used to write, but ancient people soon discovered that a sharpened hollow tube, such as a reed straw, held more ink and required less dipping. Quills from large birds proved even better for writing and became the state-of-the-art tool from the 6th century until the early 1800s. Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence with a quill pen, raised special geese at his farm, Monticello, so he would always have a supply of quills on hand. Monticello. Only the first few feathers from the bird's left wing were used, as the curve allowed right-handed people to see their work. Writing left-handed was discouraged. It smudged the ink. Given the effort of using quill pens, it's not surprising that Jefferson bought a fountain pen as soon as he saw one in 1824. He paid $5, the equivalent of about $100 today. It was made of silver and gold, and it was one of the best I had ever saw, Thomas Jefferson wrote. So it appears that this works. The ink is sticking to the page. And here's my message to you. And if you do this experiment, maybe you can send a message to me. But this is what I have to say to you. And look how nice. Oh, it's running a little bit, but that's okay. Probably need to dry a little bit more. So I miss you all very much. Our next science experiment will be right here in Mr. Leggett's laboratory. And we're going to be working with some avocado pits. See you next time. Have a great weekend.